To give you an idea of who we are and what we're actually covered today, the Canadian Small Business Institute, we're a private education organization. We started in 1982 during the peak of the last recession. So it goes to show that you can, in fact, start a business at any time. But we have about 100,000 members to date. Our mandate when we first started and still today was help foster and encourage entrepreneurship. The founder and current president of the Institute is Richard J. Stacy. Some of you may have heard of him. He's a self-made millionaire, but he owns a number of companies. One of them, which many of you may buy products from, and you don't even know it, a lot of the products that are sold on TV or distributed through department stores are sold through some of these companies that we own. But what we do is provide the tools that entrepreneurs need in order to get set up and run their business profitably. So we can help everything from printing your business cards, letterheads, stationery, rubber stamps that you may need for your business. As well, we're subscription agents for foreign trade magazines. So if you don't know what kind of product you're looking for, we carry about 50 different foreign trade magazines that can assist you in sourcing products. There's business directories that we carry as well. If you don't know how to market products to, these directories help you source companies in order to find the kind of companies that would be interested in buying your products. As well, we provide research information on different areas of making money. If you're interested in personal finance, we have information on how to take control of your finances. If you're interested in investing, if you're interested in real estate, creating wealth in real estate. But the main focus today is on starting a business. And we have a program today that we'll make available called Blueprint for Success, which I'll talk about a little later on. But to give you an idea of what we're actually covered this afternoon and this morning, for the first 45 minutes, I'm going to cover the basics for getting set up and registered. How many people here actually already have a business? Okay, so about 10% of you. I asked you to bear with me for that first 45 minutes so that I can get everyone up to the same level. We're going to cover the basics for getting set up and registered. Then we're going to go through some different ways of getting into a business. So we'll look at manufacturing as a possibility, maybe service, retail, buying into an existing business, maybe buying into a franchise, or just simply being a distributor for a product. We'll also touch on some other business that you can start in your spare time, like mail order, maybe import-export. Then for those of you who don't have an idea, or you may have an idea, we'll show you how to develop this. So first, we'll show you where to find ideas to market and promote. We'll go through ways how to do research on these products, and we'll go through ways how to protect them. We'll go through how to advertise and market, and then we'll end up with financing. As far as the timing, we're going to probably break around 12 o'clock for anyone who has to have lunch, and then we'll get back around 12:30. Okay? But what I'm going to try to do is focus on your areas of interest. Some areas, like I guess, if focus is not a major area, we won't spend too much time. But I do encourage you to ask questions. I'm going to be here as long as it takes to answer all your questions. Perry and Kyle in the back they work with the Institute, and they can probably help you in getting the information you're looking for. So to begin, what we normally do, I guess we do a questionnaire, and we find that ask people why they want to start their own business or why they want to be their own boss. And you yourself this week and after this seminar should ask yourself the same reason, is why you want to be your own boss or why you want to start your own business. We found that these are actually the top 5 reasons. The first one here is simply pay a little less tax. If you're working right now, you find there isn't a whole lot of tax deductions that you can write off. So what we're saying is you get one thing out of this seminar, start a part-time business, simply just to pay less tax. Okay? The next one here is the freedom and satisfaction. And that one probably should be one of the main reasons of getting into a business. Right now, I don't know how many of you are, if you're fortunate you're working, but how many of you actually enjoy your job? We had a seminar, we had this introductory seminar about transcendental meditation about 2 weeks ago. They came into our office, and they're saying the most likely person who's going to have a heart attack is the person who doesn't enjoy what they're doing. Okay, and more than likely, most of the people who are working in companies, you probably don't enjoy what you're involved with. One of the rules of getting into a business, what we say, is to find something that you enjoy doing on the side right now, and then turn that into a business, but more money-making opportunity. The third point here is the flexibility and independence. Now, not all business can allow you to start part-time, but what we're saying is just do the research right now. Learn as much as you can about starting a business. This way you avoid making these constant mistakes, because this is where we see entrepreneurs. They get started in business, and once they get started, they don't have time to learn about what they need to be successful in the business. But some of this is that we will touch on, like mail order, import-export. No question, you can keep it as a part-time for as long as you want, or make that decision to go full-time. Looking to possibly buy into a franchise or an existing business. If you have the resources, it's possible to hire a manager. This is what we call owner absentee type of business. But in most cases, what we're saying is just spend some more time, learn about what it takes to start a business. The fourth one here is long-term security. I like to use the example of like renting a home or owning a home. If you're renting a home right now, if you forget to pay rent one particular month, the landlord's probably going to evict you. But if you make a a commitment here to owning a home, after 5-10 years in paying your mortgage, you now have an asset that's worth several $100,000. Similar applies to a business here. You'll find at the beginning you can invest a lot of the profits. You're buying equipment, you're buying products, you have a customer base that you've developed after 5-10 years. But more importantly, you now have an asset that's worth several $100,000s. At that point, you can make the decision to expand your business, maybe pass it on to a family member, or simply just sell and retire on it. But you do have the choices of the long-term security. Right now, if you're working right now, there's a major shift in the economy. The technology that is changing today over the last 10-15 years has totally revolutionized some of the businesses, but more some of the jobs. Right now, you'll find in 10 years from now, some of the jobs that you're involved right now may not be around. Some of the businesses that you're working for right now may not be around tomorrow. So what you have to recognize, there are major shifts that are happening in the economy and major trends. And the main difference here is recognize the trend that is on its way up versus getting into a bad type of trend that's on its way out. Now, when you came in, Hal gave a book we call Ideas for the Fortune. If you're going to start a business, what we recommend is this lists 40 of the most significant trends for the 1990s into the year 2000. So the idea here is taking some technology or skill that you have right now and make that into a business where we see it as growth. Okay? The last one here is making more money. It definitely should be on your top 5 list here, but not necessarily the number 1 reason for starting a business, because when you start out, you're not going to make a lot of money, and you have to understand that there's a long-term, what we call delayed gratification process. But it definitely should be on your list of getting business. That's why you're in business, is to make more money. I guess for the past years, I've traveled across Canada and the United States. We exhibit in franchise shows, and in some of the shows in the U.S., there's literally 500 to 600 franchise offerings that you can participate. And every one of those, they have track records of franchisees who have made a fortune from them. But here, you just invest your money into some of these operations, and if you don't like it, you're probably not even staying in it with long enough to make the income, as much as they're going to try to assist and support you on some of these offerings. So again, definitely it should be on your top 5 list, but not necessarily the number 1 reason for going into business. So again, for the first 45 minutes, we're going to cover some basics for getting set up and registered. And some of them might sound oversimplified, but this is where we see entrepreneurs making these first basic steps. And it's so important that you lay that foundation early after the part of the business, because if your foundation is weak, everything else you build upon is going to fall apart. So the first one here, step number 1, is choosing a name. And the experts use what they call the 3M rule. So it should be mellow, memorable, and should have mass appeal. But I guess just to emphasize how important here in choosing a company name is that there's a company in San Francisco for about $25,000 US. They'll come up with a name like Compaq or Atari, Nissan. So even large multinationals recognize how important it is in choosing a company name for their product or for their company name itself. So normally we recommend is, again, come up with about 10 different possibilities and narrow down to 2 or 3 that you feel best suits the business or service that you're offering. We have a number of nationalities in here, and you might be proud of your heritage, proud of your name. Unless you're really selling yourself, it doesn't describe the product and service you're involved with. A little tip in choosing a company name is try to pick a name that sounds like it already exists. Something like Canadian Small Business Institute. It sounds like an institute that's been around for 50, 100 years. Again, we only started about 10 years ago. Sometimes you might want to have sort of a government connotation or affiliation. We have nothing to do with government, but just that name sounds like we're government related. So in picking your own company name, you want to use some of these tips. Okay. Step number 2 here is selecting a legal form for your business and registering it. Now in Ontario, where you register your company is the Ministry of Consumer and Commercial Relations. However, those of you who are from out of town, you have to go to your local city hall or economic development center, but all paperwork is processed through Toronto at 393 University Avenue. Now there's 3 legal forms your business can take. The first one is a sole proprietorship, second is a partnership, and the third one is a corporation. In most cases, those of you who are working right now, what you should consider is what we call sole proprietorship. The easiest way to understand how sole proprietorship works is that you and the business are one and the same, which means you're going to file one tax return. So that tax return that you're going to file in April, what you have to do is get a little form here out of this booklet called Business and Professional Income Tax Guide, and the form itself is called T2124 form, but the statement of income expenses from business. So all you're going to do is add up all the sales that you made from your business and minus all the expenses that here will show you how much you made for your business. You carry this little column, you staple this sheet to your tax return, and it's simple as that. But how you understand how sole proprietorship works is that you and the business are one and the same, and that's the easy way to follow that. The cost of the sole proprietorship is $55. And when you go to the ministry, all you do is fill out a little form like this. You pay the cash register, and the government's just going to stamp this form, which means your business now is registered. Technically, you don't even have to register a business to be in business, but you'll find you need certain license, and this is proof that you are at least registered with the government. The second one is a partnership, which can take the form of either sole proprietorship or a corporation. It just implies more than one person who owns the business. If the two people own this business equally and the company makes, for example, $50,000, the two partners still is required by law to file two separate tax returns. The last one here is a corporation. Eventually, you do want to incorporate your company. And the main reason here, first, it offers what we call limited liabilities. So if you're looking to getting a high-risk type of venture where it's possible that customers or creditors may sue you if you mess them up, you want an incorporated company. Whereas in sole proprietorship, what I said here, if you mess up some creditors and someone comes suing you, not only can they take assets of the company, but they can count off of your personal items that you've worked so hard towards up until now. So eventually you do want to incorporate your company. But more importantly, I guess with the corporation, it allows you to issue shares for other people to participate in your venture, but more to raise kind of capital that you're going to need, whether it's at the startup stage or a year from now when you look to expand your company. Okay. Now, there are two levels of a corporation here that you may want to be aware of. The first one is called a provincial corporation, and the second one is called federal corporation. In most cases, what you need right now is a provincial corporation, which means you're going to operate your business right here in Ontario. Later on, a year from now, 2 years from now, if you decide to open up a branch office, say in Atlantic or Western Canada, what you need is a federal charter. At that point, you just amend your articles of incorporation. It normally costs about $800 to $1,000 for a federal corporation. And right here is when you have to start understanding when to bring in the various professionals. Tomorrow or on Monday you go home and tell your friends that you want to start your own business. They say, well, the first thing you have to do is go talk to a lawyer. First thing you have to do is go talk to an accountant. You may or may not require these guys at this stage here. If all you're doing is just registering a company, and to pay an extra $300 or $500, I'm not sure if it's necessary. So right here we recommend, if you're just registering a corporation, is using a paralegal. You'll find them normally in the paper under the business service section of the Canadian newspaper. But you're going to save yourself about $300 or $500. Because normally what your lawyer would do is just send his secretary, and basically she's going to go down and do a search, register the company. She'll bring the forms back, and the lawyer's going to sign his name there. And for his name there, he's going to charge you $300 or $500. Okay. Unless you need some creative financing, you may not require a lawyer at this stage here. And if you do, that lawyer that you're consulting may not be the right one to do it for you anyways. Okay. But by registering a corporation, what you want to do here is to create this illusion that basically you're a large company. When we think of a corporation, we think of a company with employing 50 or 100 people. So it does create that illusion here, although you're just a one-man operation. Step number 3 here is setting up an office in your home. Now, setting up your office, now some of you are going to get into manufacturing or get into retail where no question you have to rent a location. But regardless if you require a separate location, what we're saying is set an office in your home, because now by setting up an office in your home, there's some expenses that you're paying for right now. By starting a part-time business, now you can write these items off. Some of these expenses include hydroelectricity, fuel, heat, water, property taxes, insurance, depreciation, maintenance, repairs, your mortgage. We'll touch on that in a minute. If you're renting, again, all these expenses become now tax deductible once you're owning a business. Renovations. So these are just typical expenses that you're already paying for now, whether you own a business or not. By starting a part-time business, you can now write off some of these items. But your mortgage, if you just take another mortgage, if you just renew the mortgage, you'll find about 90% of the payment represents interest. And it's actually the interest portion that is tax deductible here. Okay? And so we're talking about thousands of dollars in tax deductions here that you may not have as an individual right now. Some other expenses that you could write off once you set up a business include office equipment, supplies. Now these are typical expenses. What you have to understand, something like office equipment, if you bought a desk 2 years ago, what you have to do is come up with a fair book value. So if you bought it for $500, it might be worth only $300 right now. So this is an area where you do have to check with your accountant. Also, how quickly you write these items. A desk is an item that you can write off 100%. But something like a computer, if you own a computer right now, you still have to come up with the book value, but there's certain class codes that allows you to depreciate only, say, 20 or 30% amount at a time. So it might take you 3 years before you write off the full amount. But some other items like a vacation. If you're planning a vacation still down in Florida, the Caribbean this winter, how business people write their vacations off, and again, by starting a business, you can write off your vacation. But because they're very odd, you have to leave a little trail for these guys to follow. So tomorrow you call your travel agent. On Monday, you call the business person or the business that you're involved with in Florida, the Caribbean. While you're down there, you pick up a couple of brochures in your industry itself, and the other 6 days or 13 days that you're on vacation. But again, if ever you're on, you have to leave a little trail for these guys to follow. And again, we're talking about 100% tax deductible right off, and you're on vacation anyways. VCRs, cameras. Now these items itself, you may already have at home. The key is